Yes. What's up, everybody? What is up, everybody? Let's go, Nelly. Don't forget to hit the like button. Oh. Love to see it. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you currently are, of course. From West Africa, I see people from India. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Thank you. I hope you are all doing great as well. Hope you're all doing great. Pausing the studying for life education. Love that, Eddie. Love that. Let's go, pen and paper ready. Let's go, Misek. What's up, Hope? How are you doing? Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. What's community saying? Let me see. From Australia, love it. I wish all the best. Thank you. Likewise, my friend. And I have no words enough to say thank you. Your ATC guide in the last years have blown my mind. Love to see that. Absolutely love to see it. And I've heard a lot of great feedback about the videos as well. If you do have any suggestions or feedback, then of course you're always free to send me an email or do whatever to contact me. The only way I don't reply usually is through Instagram or Twitter DMs. They are very full for me, so I don't usually read them. But yeah, absolutely love to see it. Not great thanks to Euro. Oh, what is up, my friend? What is up? From Uzbekistan, Romania, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, South Africa. Oh, wow. Texas, Somalia, Malaysia. Wow. Kenya. Wow. Everywhere in the world. It's so crazy, isn't that? It's a bit unrealistic, no? It's a bit unrealistic. I don't know. It's very, very weird how we've all just gathered here in a random chat. It's absolutely lovely. I like it a lot. Egypt, Nigeria. Wow. Doing good, MF. Thank you. How are you doing, my friend? How are you? Turkey, India, of course. Duitsland, Germany, love to see it. Morocco, Slovenia, Switzerland. Wow. Florida, USA. If that's right. Florida, right? I'm not too certain. Florida, I think. Lucas, love to see it, Willis. Mars. Can't forget Jupiter. Everywhere. The moon, probably. A few people. Oy. Exactly, Serge. Let's do it. Starting our own pendulum. Oh, I love to see it, man. Putting a smile on my face. Absolutely love to see it. Canada. Oy. Everywhere. Probably my neighbors are also watching. Not too certain. Oh, man. Let's get it started with the weekly forecast, of course. If you have any questions, like we usually do, then feel free to ask them right here. We'll go over everything, of course. Well, everything. I always say everything, but some things, they might be a little bit way too much, but I'll try to go over everything, so feel free to drop your questions as well. If I do miss any questions, again, just a friendly reminder, it's nothing personal. The chat sometimes just goes a little bit too fast for me to handle, so if I do miss anything, there's also no need to spam your question. I do view it as well, so no worries, my friends. We'll go over everything that we need to go over. The first thing that we need to go over is, of course, the dollar. What is the dollar doing? Now, I also want to give a little breakdown because I don't just want to go over the forecast right here like I always do. You know it. I love to rant as well a little bit. So right here, I'll go over a breakdown as well. I will also go over the topic of this week, of course, the reversal, the fake tops, the fake bottoms. How can we actually view them in the market? How can we use them in the forecast? That is very important. We don't just, it's the same as in a mentorship. We don't just teach you the concept and here you go. Feel free to do whatever you want and try your best to do with it. No. We're not just your usual community where we throw random concepts at you. I tell you exactly how to apply it and where to apply it. That is how you use concepts. So that is very important as well to understand. Now, if we actually look at the price action we had this week, because that is important. Now, time was supporting the idea of trading this week. Like I mentioned a lot of times, time was supporting the idea. The only thing is that price was just simply not supporting it. And on the Tuesday live stream, we went over it a little bit more in depth as well. And I just quickly want to go over it again right here. So we saw Monday come into that daily fair value gap right there. Now, that's not too crazy that it closed inside the daily fair value gap. All right, nothing to worry about. The only thing is then usually we can expect the previous day low sweep to then continue higher. That is what we saw. That continuation did not follow through. As in, course, the fair value gap is telling us a story. It did not create a new fair value gap. We can also see this is a nice fake bottom. Why is that a fake bottom? Look at the momentum we have going upwards. Absolutely zero momentum, zero intention. We came down quicker than we went up right there. It's a great indication. So right there, this is a real bottom if it does want to make a bottom, which we can tell by having fair value gaps higher. We do not create fair value gaps higher. We sweep the bottom again. And then, okay, we can switch bias, as in we can go lower potentially. It closes inside that fair value gap, no momentum going downwards, and doesn't want to follow through lower. That moment right there, when it doesn't follow through higher, doesn't follow through lower, that is typical seek and historic conditions. Now, at the end of the forecast on Tuesday, I mentioned, gun to my head, I would argue that we are heading towards the weekly fair value gap that is sitting right there. Then if we zoom out even more, what can we see? We not only have the weekly fair value gap sitting right there, we are 10 days away, 9 days, excuse me. Or is that just this? 9 days, yes, 9 days and 11 hours away from what? From creating a monthly fair value gap. Remember what I always tell you, that third candle, doesn't matter which time frame it is, that third candle right there is lower probability to trade. Now, again, doesn't mean we can't trade it at all. We just have to pay close attention to what the time frames below that are doing. So what is the weekly doing? What is the daily doing? Are we in seeking historic conditions? Because then it can very well consolidate because price is already taking into account the next candle. What do I mean by that? The next candle is already in preparation. As in, this candle is consolidating or trading close to the future fair value gap to then sting into it to either continue lower, of course, or continue higher off of that. That is important to understand. So that is why we have to be careful in these conditions. Now, do I think we will consolidate for the rest of this month, for the rest of the 9 days? No, but we just have to be careful with that. What I expect for price to do right here is that if I expect higher prices, that's definitely something. I'm expecting higher prices. The only thing is right here that we need a discount array to clearly show bullish intention. Now, we can't just ignore this daily fair value gap that is sitting right there and say we trade towards the weekly fair value gap and look for shorts. No, because this is exactly what will happen. That daily fair value gap you can just very easily see. That is a support level. So it is holding price higher, meaning that we can't just break through it very easily. No, we'll see some support. We'll see some kind of support withholding us from trading lower. So in that sense, shorting right there into the weekly fair value gap is not the highest probability thing to do. The highest probability thing to do is to wait for a clear discount array in the form of that to then continue higher, because I am expecting higher prices. The only thing is that we might still expand higher off the daily fair value gap, which it does not look like it wants to do currently, unless we get a new daily fair value gap higher off of that, or we come into the weekly fair value gap and then we expand higher. But let's say, and this is all the scenarios going through my mind, right? Because here we have to be very careful. We had beautiful high probability conditions in the past few weeks, in the past few months even, you could argue, where it was very easy to trade. Here we have to be careful. And it's very easy as well. And I tell this to the mentorship a lot of times. It is very easy to now blow all your profits that you made in these easy conditions going higher right there, because the drawn liquidity there was very easy. The drawn liquidity still is easy. It's just the delivery that got a little bit tougher. So right here, don't blow all your profits trying to trade this. Don't strategy hop. Don't go into a different trading plan, a different strategy. It's not something you would want to do. So be very careful with that as well. So right there, again, still expecting higher prices, but just be careful. There's no rush to get into the market. These conditions is where you can make 30%, 40%, 10%, 20%. You can make easy profits here. But it's just as easy going downhill and blowing these profits in low probability conditions like that. Again, these are my low probability conditions. Your low probability conditions might be a little bit different, but if you have a trending strategy, then usually seeking short conditions are low probability for you. I also know great traders that are very great and that are high probability conditions in seeking short conditions. It's either one of those. So again, you don't need to change anything. Don't change your strategy after a week like this. It's also very important. Hey, what is this? Don Ragnar, my guy, what is this? Well, done ICT 2020. Sorry to interrupt as well, but just need to touch on this really quick. Done ICT's 2022 mentorship, core content, and market maker primer series. Is that enough, or do I need the 2023 mentorship? I spent all the week studying your ATC. Man, that is insane. Thank you for that. Again, there's no reason to donate. There's no need as well. But thank you for that. I appreciate that a lot, man. That is absolutely insane. Thank you. I can't thank you enough, my man. That is insane. That is just the kind words, the act of kindness. That is absolutely lovely, man. That is absolutely lovely. Thank you for that, man. So to answer your question as well, no, you don't need the 2023 mentorship at all. You don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. If you've watched Market Maker Primer, 2022 mentorship, core content, you have everything you need already. And the funny thing is you have everything you need. And I've watched those exact series as well. You have everything you need. It is now the knowledge that needs to be put in a kind of structure where you apply it in the right way. Now, again, that is where the A to Z series comes in. That is where the recent videos comes in. That is where, of course, the mentorship also comes in, but you don't need my mentorship, as in the YouTube is already enough. 2023, yeah, you can leave that alone for sure. Yana Babi also knows, because they are in the essential class as well. They're in the mentorship. So that is, what is this? Bullish Lucas, my guy. Bullish Lucas is even a mentorship member, a MMT member. I'm speechless. I'm struggling. My words are not coming out anymore. Wow, to receive all this love, that is insane. That is absolutely insane. Only pushes me further to make better content, to do more, to give more love back. YouTube content remains valuable even if you are in the mentorship. That is very true. That is very, very true. Bullish Lucas is a Money Making Team member, and Money Making Team members know that the YouTube goes hand in hand with the mentorship. I'm not just putting out any bullshit on YouTube to call it that. It's not just that I throw random. It's perfectly in line with the mentorship as well. So wow, I'm speechless. Thank you all for this, man. It's absolutely insane. Speechless. Thank you. Can't thank you enough. Bullish Lucas. Thank you. And Don, of course. Can't forget Don. Thank you. Wow. Let's continue with the weekly forecast. I'm a bit flabbergasted. I'm a bit lost my train of thought, but I'll try to continue. Wow. Thank you. It's insane. It's insane, the love. The love is insane. So, what was I saying? The dollar. The dollar right here, we can continue higher, and that is exactly what I'm expecting. I'm expecting higher prices. The only thing is, again, where are we likely continuing higher off of? We can't ignore that daily VI gap. Right now, just to give you an action plan, because of course I don't just want to give vague instructions, to give you an action plan. If you are not a seek and destroy trader, so again, don't try to be that if you are just simply not. I'm not a seek and destroy trader, so I'm not trying to be one. Then just simply stay out of the market and wait for either a clear discount or a clear premium array. That's always what I say. And what I mean by that is you wait for a clear discount array in the form of that weekly fair value gap. Yeah, what I wanted to say is, let's say we take the whole week right here to reach into that weekly fair value gap. This weekly fair value gap then becomes low probability, and I'll explain why. The reason for that is because if we take the whole week to trade into that weekly fair value gap, we have passed 7 days. 7 days. A week is 7 days, Ario. Perfect. We have passed 7 days to trade into that weekly fair value gap, meaning that in those last 2 days and 11 hours, we are creating a monthly fair value gap. I would then rather wait for the monthly fair value gap to be traded into to then continue higher. So again, that is where we have to be careful. It needs to happen pretty fast if we do want to continue higher off that weekly fair value gap. Otherwise, I would prefer the monthly fair value gap. Again, the way this top forms right here, is that a real top in the market? In my opinion, no, it is not. That is a very bulky turn. That is not something you would want to see as your top in the market right there. So again, keep that in mind. That is not something I would like to see. I want to see higher prices. I either see higher prices from here, or we currently expand higher with a new daily fair value gap, and I want to get involved off of that. Other than that, there's no in between. So that is what I'm looking at on the dollar. Now, we move on to the indices. The indices, higher time frame delivery, was actually quite nice. The only thing is, and the reason why I also did not participate in the indices, because the last few days I've just taken a step back. I don't want to get involved, etc. I mentioned it in the Telegram as well, that right there, I don't want to get involved. And yes, the higher time frame delivery is quite nice. But the lower time frame delivery, you would, or I'm speaking for myself here because I'm not sure if you would have taken quite a few hits. But me personally, if I'm being honest, I would have likely taken quite a few hits right here before I actually got the right move, which happened on Monday. On Monday, I took a loss on NASDAQ. So that loss on NASDAQ on Monday was already the first sign for me right there. When I took that loss right there, these are not my conditions that I want to be trading in. As in, these are not favorable for me. So I want to just stay out and I want to be very careful here. Now, I recouped those losses the next day on DAX with a very quick in and out trade. That was on Tuesday. And that is where my week ended. I ended the week right there because I did not want to get involved anymore in those conditions because I knew, all right, these conditions are not that great right there, or it was early signs of showing those conditions. Again, what I always try to tell people as well, and what I said in the mentorship in a breakdown video actually, so it's a little insight. There is not one magic way of me knowing I know these conditions are going to happen, and I knew someone told me these conditions or the rules for those seeking short conditions, and I never took a loss or I never experienced blowing accounts. The way and the whole reason why I can avoid those conditions is because I blew accounts. It's because I lost a lot of money. It's because I lost a lot of accounts trying to trade those conditions. So now I can see them coming. I've learned from my experience. So if you had a bad week this week and you lost an account, you lost a few trades, you had a losing week, perfect. Perfect, because you sacrificed some RR, you sacrificed something in order for you to learn, in order for you to have a great learning experience. That learning experience, if you do nothing with it, as in if you now change your strategy, if you now change your whole approach to the market, then that experience is into thin air. It's lost. It's lost because then you need to regain those experiences with a different strategy. The point is right there, that learning experience, you can add it to your resume. Why? Because that learning experience allows you to grow right now, because the next time you would see it coming a little bit earlier, then you might still get caught up in those conditions. The next time you see it even a little bit earlier, and the next time you can prevent it. That is what we're aiming for, and that is the beauty of trading, where you learn through those experiences. So that is very important. There's not just one magic saying. There's not a guru out there that can tell you, oh yes, just focus on this, and you'll never lose again. No, it's not how it works. So again, be careful of that. Be very careful of that. Now, right there, to touch on the forecast, of course, we were doing that. Here we can just obviously continue lower. We talked about ES and NASDAQ right there. Of course, when I'm talking about indices, I just talk in general. NASDAQ right here, we talk about the monthly fair value gap. This monthly fair value gap is not that relevant. The most relevant part is that overlapping part. Why is that again? These parts are 1, 1, 1. If it doesn't continue higher off the first one, why would it off of the second one right there? So then it will find the 2 part, which is the overlapping part, the high right there. So that is likely what we are aiming for. And then the weekly, we can just continue with the context. Weekly context taken right there. What do? I go into the daily time frame to look for new context. My new context and my highest probability thing that I would want to see right here is a daily fair value gap that is overlapping with these lows. Price has now already offered a fair value a couple of times right there. There's no reason for price to come all the way back up and then continue lower. Fair value is that fair value gap that is being created, overlapping with those lows, continuing lower off of that. That is exactly what I'm looking at as well. And that is what I'm looking at on all of the indices, we could argue right here. So the same on ES right there, and the same on YM as well. Continuing lower, expecting the dollar also to be bullish, of course. So then on DAX right here, DAX had quite a nice high time frame delivery. I had a trade on Tuesday as well. Now, other than that, the delivery was not very nice. As in, right there, this was my winner right there, but after that, it was just a mess. And if I would have tried to gotten involved, then likely I would have taken quite a few losses before I actually got the right move as well. So that is important to understand. Now, right here, what can we do? We can just deliver lower, right? We can just use any premium array to target the next discount array, which is right there. If we have something on a weekly, not just quite yet. So a daily premium array in the form of daily fair value gaps could be very nice to continue lower off of. That is looking quite nice actually on DAX. Australian dollar, US dollar. So the thing here is I don't like this. And I've not liked Australian dollar, US dollar for quite some time because we had that monthly fair value gap that is still hovering above price right there, which is this one. And we are currently just, look how many times we are coming into that daily fair value gap before it continue lower. It's just, I don't like this price action. It's just not a really high probability price action in my eyes. So right here, I do think that we can deliver towards those lows first, right there, because those lows, they are, again, that is a fake bottom. A market does not make a bottom like that. Just doesn't do it. So right there, if we can deliver towards those lows, I would like to, but it's just not high probability. I will personally not get involved in Australian dollar, US dollar the next week, more than likely, because it's just not high probability in my eyes. But overall, with the dollar going higher, this might also go lower, but we have that monthly fair value gap still sitting there, so I don't like it. We're building nice liquidity as well for us to do something like this and then continue lower. So I don't quite like that. Then on EU right here. So EU, it's a bit unclear on what it wants to do right now. Now, with the dollar going higher, I would just expect, of course, EU to continue lower. The thing I'm seeing right here is that we can sweep something, as in we can sweep that high. That is the next premium array that we can reach for, and then continue lower off of that. So if that happens, that might be quite nice. Of course, taking into account, that is very important, taking into account whatever the dollar wants to do. Because if the dollar wants to already expand higher, then EU will just follow and it will just continue lower right there. That is important. I do still think that we can head lower, especially towards that monthly SIBI or monthly BISI, sorry, that we have right there. That is very nice. I really like that. Keeping in mind as well, monthly SIBI being created as well. That is very nice. That is quite nice. Then in the meantime right here, I also want to wait. So most US dollar pairs, you'll see that I'll tell you, or that I'll say, I want to wait. I just want to wait because I'm just not too clear on what it wants to do right now. Then GU right here. GU can still reach for that daily fair value gap and potentially even continue lower off of it if there's volatility. And the volatility next week is not on Monday. So Monday, I am definitely staying out. The volatility comes in on Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. next week. So be mindful of that as well. Now, if we reach that, that is a nice area where we can continue lower from. That is looking quite nice. Just following the high probability lags. This lag, of course, lower, all this price action that we have right here, is low probability. That is just ready to get swept right there to continue lower eventually. So that is looking quite nice. In this case, I would also prefer GU over EU. Reason for that is because EU just doesn't have that clear premium array. A clear premium array to me is always a fair value gap. A high, yes, I know it's a premium array. It's just not really clear, as in it's very vague. We have a lot of highs everywhere, etc. Just a recent fair value gap in the recent lag. That's very easy to trade, right? So that is very nice. That is what I would want to see on GU. So GU right there is looking quite nice. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. I like this. The only thing is, it's a shame that it didn't come into the daily fair value gap. We had monthly context right there. Continuing lower. Very nice. Beautiful. Then we go into the weekly. Does the weekly have to tell us something right now? No, but we might be creating a new weekly fair value gap right there. Daily. This fair value gap that we have right there is looking very nice to me. Overlapping with the lows, same exact scenario. When we take that context, I want to see these fair value gaps right there hold to continue lower. That is looking quite nice as well. I really like that. Really like that. USD Canadian dollar. All right, this is interesting because if we apply the fake top, fake bottom concept right here, and this bottom right there is just not a bottom I want to get involved in. Any price action that is happening here, I don't like it. And the reason why, this is a fake bottom to me. A very picture perfect fake bottom. And on the 4 hour, we can also see it's a beautiful fake bottom right there. Just this consolidation, don't like it at all. Now, even if we are continuing higher, perfectly fine, then it might continue higher without me. I don't really mind because I don't want to get involved in those low probability price actions right there. So that is perfectly fine for me. Now, if we do want to continue higher, I would like to see maybe a daily fair value gap higher to give me the confidence that we want to go higher. Then the targets that I have in mind are still this one and still that one right there. So those are still my targets. Again, will we come back all the way to sweep this and then continue higher? We might. And that might is just the reason that tells me I don't want to get involved right now. So that is very important for me, that I don't really like that right there. Then on USD CHF right here, we had, let's see, monthly, we could have continued higher. We're seeing a big rejection lower. On the weekly, I had this weekly fair value gap that we might continue lower off of. Currently, it's just a little bit 50-50 on what it wants to do right now. If the dollar wants to continue higher, then of course, US dollar will just, US dollar CHF right here will just continue higher as well. So in here, I want to be very careful that we have this weekly fair value gap as well being created that disrespected that weekly fair value gap. So right now, I'm not too certain on what it wants to do right here. If anything, I would still like bullish price action. But right now, of course, we can see we don't have any reason to support that bullish price action as well. I don't want to look for shorts just quite yet. So right here, I want to wait for more price action, not too sure on what it wants to do. US dollar JPY. So I mentioned as well this week on Tuesday that I would advise to just stay out of USDJPY as a whole. And the reason for that is because someone in the money making team as well got slipped for 4% right there on that move, on that wick. And it's very weird price action right here. And it happened twice this month, twice at the beginning of the month, 17th right there and the 3rd of October right there as well, where we had a weird wick. No apparent news from what we can see. So it's very, very strange price action as well. Not price action you want to get involved in. This is barcode price action right there. Something you would find in a supermarket. So it's not something you would want to get involved in right there. It's just not quite nice. Not quite nice. Again, the draw liquidity has been very nice for, and that's the funny part, right? Because the delivery towards the draw liquidity has been an absolute mess. Unless we're talking about the monthly right there, this was really clean. After that, it's just been an absolute mess right there. Where the draw liquidity was still very clear. This draw liquidity is what we had all this time. The delivery towards it though is very ugly. So again, if we can get a clear fair value gap higher, any fair value gap higher, then it could be nice. But overall, it's just very ugly. Silver right here. So silver and gold, I mentioned last week as well, that it is out of sync with the dollar, meaning that dollar could be moving higher, silver is also moving higher, which sort of worries me because then I can't really get to clear direction because the first thing on the list is of course the dollar. So if the dollar, I determine dollar wants to go higher, then I already have set in mind that the rest wants to either go lower or higher. I already have a predetermined direction that I want to trade in. Where with silver, that just doesn't happen. So here on silver, if we do want to continue higher, then I would argue, all right, we're reaching for that next premium array right there. How can we deliver right there? Well, we can on Monday create that daily fair value gap. Tuesday, we can sting into it to then continue higher towards that high that is sitting right there. So Monday, I would wait for that close to potentially create a daily fair value gap. All right, then on gold right now. So gold, we mentioned that high that we could deliver to. We have now reached this high as well. If we want to continue higher, then we can use any daily discount rate that is sitting right here in the form of that daily fair value gap. This is sort of where it can also turn, in my opinion. As in, it can sweep these highs and then just sort of reverse. If it reverses and disrespects this daily fair value gap, then I would argue that we are now reaching for this weekly fair value gap that is sitting right there. So if that happens, first things first, I want to potentially long off of that daily fair value gap right there on a Tuesday, ideally, not on Monday. So if that happens and we have that long opportunity, I would happily get involved. If that is a loss and it disrespects everything here, then I would like to target that weekly fair value gap sitting right there. So again, that's an if this, if that, if this. Perfect. Bitcoin right here. So Bitcoin, can it finally look to target that monthly SIBI that we've had for a long time right there? Now, we created a bearish fair value gap, which we talked about right there. We did not respect it at all. We had this huge move higher right there with that fake news or something. And then eventually we are now just continuing higher. So if we can get that daily fair value gap to deliver higher towards the monthly SIBI, could be very nice. Could be very nice as well. Crude oil right here. So on crude oil, we talked about this area right there on a fake top video. Right now, we are just delivering higher of that monthly fair value gap that is sitting right there. So the target is very easy, is that high. Then on a weekly basis, we are coming into that weekly fair value gap. We're not really rejecting lower, but this is an area that you need to keep in mind where it's a bit low resistance, or sorry, high resistance. And this is a video I'll make. It's the next video actually, where I'll go over the high resistance and low resistance runs right there. This is a high resistance run because we're just in between that discount and a premium area right there. So here, ideally what I want to wait for is a clear daily fair value gap higher to get involved for that last push towards that monthly fair value gap. The 4 hour could be nice as well right here, but I would prefer the daily right there to give me a better indication of what it wants to do. But on the 4 hour, this low right there should hold. That is not a low that I would want to see go right there. Even though it doesn't create a daily fair value gap, that's a nice low on the 4 hour. Nifty, yes, nifty. So we talked about the weekly fair value gap right there, and we are finally continuing lower off of it. It took a while, but right now we can just use any fair value gap that is sitting right there. The way I use fair value gaps is, again, it's a bit harder, of course, but if you try your best, again, then we have those 3 candle patterns. So this is obviously a fair value gap right there. Then we have, this one is a bit weird where we have this, but that is not a fair value gap in my eyes. Then here we have a fair value gap as well, which is in between that right there, which we can sting into. And the reason that is a fair value gap, or I classify it as a fair value gap, is because we have a 3 candle pattern, and that is just a simple fair value gap, right? 1, 2, 3. So that gap, I don't use the gap, I use the fair value gap that was supposed to be there if we just had normal hours to trade with, etc. Then on the daily, we have that fair value gap as well sitting above there. So that is something to take into account. We can continue lower now, and we of course have this fair value gap as well right there, which we can use as well. So that is what I would be looking at to continue lower off of right there. That is looking quite nice. Looking quite nice. All right, that was a forecast. That JPY fiscal problems cost. That is very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that as well. Thank you for sharing that. Let me see. Do we have any other pairs that we can go over? Do we have any other pairs? Let's see. Thank you, Aziz. Thank you. I try to be kind always. Try to do my best. Hamza, are you straight? No BS. It saves time. Having the right mentor will save years. That is absolutely true. And I wish I had the right mentor from the get-go as well. But it is what it is. But that is very true. And thank you for that as well. Thank you. My Telegram is free. Yeah, the Telegram is, if you go to my website, ario.io, then you find a link to the Telegram. That one is free. That one is free. Let's go, Hassan. I saw you were on the waiting list for the mentorship. In November, most likely will open up. November. First, we're going over a few things, and then after, we're looking to open up, potentially. Chart time and getting experience with most important in trading, more than any theory. Absolutely true, surgical striker. That is the most, that is very true. It's so true. Chart time and getting experience with it is most important in trading, more than any theory. Very, very true. Any theory will work if you just put in the time and have the experience. That's it. That is it. Euro Australian dollar looking nice for next week. Let me see. If Zeus says it, then again, it must be true. Then it must be true. Come on. Yes, Zeus is always right. Come on. But yes, this is looking very nice actually. So here on the weekly, we're just respecting bullish order flow right there, or the bullish high probability legs. Right there, if we have any daily fair value gap, any daily discount rate, this is looking very nice. Yeah, it's looking very clean. Very clean. Let me see. Do you think FX and indices futures are better to trade than crypto? What are the main differences you see in price behavior in your experience? Bullish Lucas summed it up perfectly for you as well. And the next thing I would add to that is as well, if you're moving from crypto to Forex or futures in general, oh, you'll love it. You'll love it. The volatility in Forex and indices especially oh, it's so nice. It's so beautiful. Whereas in Bitcoin, you'll just wait so much. And in general crypto, you'll wait so much for certain moves to happen. Now, again, if that is, if you like crypto to trade, etc., then of course stick to it, etc. But Forex and Indices, it's, oh, the volatility is just so nice. The specific time windows to actually trade, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I think you'll love it. I think you'll love it. FTSE 100, of course, Dennis, of course. GBP Australian dollar, Euro Australian dollar. Let me go over GBP Australian dollar as well. Let me actually write some things. Oh, wait. I wish they had TradingView. I might suggest it. I might send a DM to TradingView. I saw T-Trades did it, right? And it worked, no? Where I just want a text that is everywhere. As in it's on all my charts, not just on my... But it might be an indicator. Might be an indicator. Text. Is this one? What is this? Well, I don't know what is this. But yeah, would be lovely. But let's go over them. I'll try to remember. FTS 100. Let me check and do correct me if I don't pick the right pair as well, or the right instrument. So this is the official one, I believe, I reckon. Let's see what we are doing on a monthly. Monthly just consolidating, not respecting current order flow. On the monthly, I would argue that we are heading towards that low right there. On a weekly basis, we are potentially creating a weekly fair value gap lower, where we could head towards that swing low before we head to the monthly low. Then on a daily time frame, we have those daily fair value gaps. This is nice. I actually quite like this. If we have this low right there overlapping with a fair value gap, I would expect lower price off of that. That is looking very nice. That's looking quite nice. I like that. Daily fair value gap, I wouldn't really use these daily fair value gaps above. I would use the most recent one with the overlapping low right there. That is very nice. I like that. I like that. Then GBP Australian dollar. Let me see. Yes, I quite like this right here. And the reason I like this is if we can manage to expand above that, that would mean, if we expand above that, that would mean to me that we are now failing to go lower, because clearly the confirmation, etc., did not work right there. So right now, if we move higher on the daily, I would prefer a daily fair value gap higher to then look to trade off of that. What we can do right here on the 4 hour, I mentioned this context actually in the recent video. The context right there, context high was taken. When that happens, you can actually go into the 1 hour. Of course, if you already have 4 hour context, you can just stay on that. As in, if you have a 4 hour fair value gap right there, you can just use the 4 hour. But here on the 1 hour, you actually have new context where we can head higher off of that. But the only thing is, of course, that is a Friday. So when that happens on a Friday and you have that close right there, you might see some messy price action right here, and then we continue higher. I am expecting higher prices right now with the target that high right there, potentially. If that doesn't happen and we sweep this, we create bearish fair value gaps, then I would just stay on the sidelines. Natural gas, of course, my friend. Natural gas. NG. NG is which one? Is it the Russian one or the American one? Doesn't really matter, I reckon. I'll take this one right here on the monthly. What are we doing? Just came above that high right there, which we are likely sweeping by the looks of this right here. So let's see what we are doing. Then on the weekly, this is nice. This is actually very nice. And the thing I like about this is because if you notice this is a real top formation. And this is what we get usually when we create a real top like that. See how we are creating that ST right there with that fake top sweep? This exactly is a picture perfect example. So if you want more examples of this, then study this and study how it delivers afterwards. That is also important, of course. Then right here, and the reason I say that is because I would now expect lower price just based on the reaction we are seeing there. Targeting those lows and eventually targeting all these lows right there. On the daily time frame, how can we do that? We can deliver off of the recent fair value gaps that are sitting right there. Now, it is important to understand that once we have these formations, that I would not expect a big retracement. I wanted to do it very quickly right there to target those lows. This we can see is creating a new high probability lag. Wow, this is actually a pretty nice price action, to be honest. Then right there, continuing lower off of that. That is actually quite nice. Going to set an alert just to see if it plays out. That is looking quite nice. I like that. All right. That is my thoughts. What's up, Teddy? How are you doing, Teddy? How are you doing, Teddy? Hope you're doing great, my man. I hope you are doing great. Let me see. Your JPY. Ah, yeah. This is my nightmare. If I ever wake up and scream from a nightmare, then this is what I saw in my nightmare. It's just, oh, it's such ugly price action right here. If anything, I would still say that we are likely heading towards that high, but the fair value gaps are just lacking. And I want my context to be at least to get an idea of what price wants to do, at least on a daily time frame, to not go into the lower time frames to force an idea and a bias. But right here, I might have to go into the 4 hour almost. That, wow, it's very ugly price action. If anything, I would like to see something like this to continue higher. And but this is not something I would want to trade. This is very ugly price action. It's extremely ugly price action. Let's go, Zeus. Let's go. Love to see it. ETH and Sol, of course, Shoes here. My guy, how are you doing? How are you doing, sir? Great to see you again. Let's see. Ethereum. Ethereum actually is already inside a monthly fair value gap going lower. That's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Now, the only thing that I have in my mind is, again, because I know crypto follows Bitcoin like crazy. So in my mind, if Bitcoin wants to continue higher right now, then I would not see that high as a safe, as being an intermediate term high, as in being a protected high right there. So if anything, I would like to target higher potentially, especially after this sweep right there. Targeting higher. Fair value gap's not getting respected right there, not following through. So this high would be the next target. Then after that, next target, that high as well. That is what I would do in that situation. Then Sol USD. Let me see. Monthly, swept those lows. Monthly target is pretty clear in my eyes. It's that high. On the weekly, we are creating potentially a new weekly fair value gap next week. Still with the same target coming off that weekly fair value gap. That's pretty nice. Daily right here. I would want to see and this is again the reason why I want to use the most recent fair value gap right there on the daily time frame to then continue higher off of that. It's purely because it shouldn't have big retracement when we're that close to the drawn liquidity. It should only do something like this. Can potentially sting into that if it does it fast. Continue higher towards that drawn liquidity right there. That is my thought on that. Watermark indicator if you want to print an alt chart. Let me add that. I think I had that before. Thank you for mentioning. Thank you. Watermark. Is this one actually? Ah. Oh, wow. They already have it. TradingView itself. I'll take all my words back, TradingView. I'm sorry. UK 100. Let me check. UK 100. Let me check. Monthly is basically the same, I would argue right there. Weekly as well the same right there. Daily, exact same right there, where I would take the overlapping fair value gap that is overlapping with the lows right there. Either this low, that low, doesn't really matter. As long as it's overlapping with a low, that fair value gap being created, continuing lower off of that. So we would wait for Monday, then Tuesday potentially has some nice context to work with. That is how I would do that. Good morning. Gineo Trader. Euro GBP. Euro GBP has been moving. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. This is actually looking pretty nice. I haven't said that about Euro GBP in a while. That fair value gap right there, weekly fair value gap. Ooh, okay, this is looking pretty nice actually. Daily fair value gap overlapping with the highs. That weekly fair value gap very close to it. Daily fair value gap to continue higher right there. The thing is, I would want to trade this on Tuesday, so keep that in mind. If Tuesday has a nice sting into the daily fair value gap right there, I would want to trade it. Monday, no. I don't want to trade Monday because Monday has a lack of volatility if we look at the economic calendar. But this is looking very nice. I like this a lot, actually. I like this. Let me see. if we are coming off of a monthly fair value gap and going higher, and if we come into weekly fair value gap and have a daily fair value gap lower, what do we do? Do we act off daily fair value gap lower, or do we still look for longs? Let me digest that correctly, if I understand it correctly. If we are coming off a monthly fair value gap and going higher, let me find an example. Euro Canadian dollar, monthly fair value gap and going higher, and then we come into a weekly fair value gap and have a daily fair value gap lower. What do we do? Do we act off the daily fair value gap lower, or do we still look for longs? Great question. So if I understand it correctly right here, you're saying monthly fair value gap higher, and we come into a weekly fair value gap lower and a daily fair value gap lower potentially right there. Now, if we have GBP Canadian dollar, for example, because right here, what I would want to do is this area is very low probability, as in when we, and this is something we'll touch on in the next video actually, it's a great question, then right there, this area is low probability, as in here you want to wait. But since the monthly is the stronger fair value gap, is a stronger time frame right there, I would still prefer longs. I just need to get a clear sign that it actually wants to go higher. So in this case right there, I just want to use any daily fair value gap higher. I just wait, we come into that weekly fair value gap, and right there, I wait. I don't want to take longs off of that. I want to wait. Daily fair value gap lower, daily fair value gap higher. That will indicate where we want to trade towards. Now, if we look at GBP Australian dollar, because I think we have the same example right there. We're not coming into the monthly though, I believe. Weekly. Which one was the other one? GBP Canadian dollar? Where we are coming into a monthly? Yeah, right here. GBP Canadian dollar, we are coming into the monthly right there. Monthly fair value gap. Then on the weekly right here, we're coming into the weekly fair value gaps lower. In this case, still, I would prefer the monthly to follow through higher. The only thing is we need to pay attention to the signs on what it actually wants to do. Now, weekly fair value gap lower and daily fair value gap lower as well right there. This right there, for me, in the first case, is a nice trade to potentially take. The only thing is, again, that it's just not really a high probability, as in it's very 50-50. When you have those time frames going against each other in a sense, then it is usually what you'll see is seek and destroy conditions. And that is where you have to be very careful. Now, in this case, again, I would still prefer longs because daily fair value gap is higher off a monthly fair value gap. That's pretty nice. Then I would ignore the weekly almost, but still not ignoring it fully, as in you still have that as a resistance level you are going to get into, you're going to trade into. Let me know if that does make sense. Let me know if that does make sense. Of course, Teddy, when we have Euro news and US dollar news in the same day, what do we look for, especially for the US dollar pairs? Then, for me, US dollar news is the most important right there. Of course, depends on which one, etc. Which one is if there's, for example, what I'm talking about is if we have FOMC, NFP, CPI, then it's a little bit different. But then we just use US dollar news and we can trade any US dollar pair right there. Or you can trade Euro pairs, which means that you can potentially trade Euro CHF, Euro Canadian dollar, Euro Australian dollar, etc. That is what you can look into. That is quite nice. Let's see, Adolfo. Let's see. Haro, do you have in mind to make a video about some models and strategies to trade the PM session on futures due to my job as hard trade London or AM? That's actually a great idea. It's actually a great idea. It's a great idea. Great suggestion as well. That might be a great idea as well to do. For sure, for sure. I haven't thought about that too in depth, but that's great to do potentially as well. Let's see. Let's see. The volume is low. Can't hear clearly, please. Is it on my side? Do let me know if it's on my side. Do let me know. On GBP Canadian, I was looking for short off the daily value, but then fall through, so I asked if monthly stronger than daily. Yeah, exactly. Monthly in that case is stronger. It can follow through lower, but again, if you can hear what I'm, you can already hear when I'm trying to sum it up that it's sort of, well, if this and this and I'm sort of counter, I'm sort of doing the opposite of what I'm saying constantly. As in, I'm saying, well, if this, but this is still strong, this is high probability. So it's like, oh, it's low probability because I can get the bullish arguments, bearish arguments. It's just not that clear. That makes sense. No worries, one day at a time. No worries, no worries. I love to do it. I love to do it. Absolutely love to do it. What is the difference between BPR and ST? That is a great question. And that is a question that we touch on in the mentorship, actually. I can sum it up without giving the full definition, because that is, of course, I can't give everything away in the mentorship. But if I do sum it up right there, an ST doesn't have to be a BPR, but a BPR is always an ST. If that's a sort of a riddle. I don't want to talk in riddles. I'm sorry. But that does make a lot of sense if you go over the ST right there. An ST doesn't have to be a BPR. But a BPR is always an ST, if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. Please. Zeus, watching you try to not reveal too much is funny. So yeah, it is. I don't know. It's yeah, sometimes I'm like, well, it's a bit iffy. The volume is okay? All right, perfect. It is good, perfect. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you. Thank you. XRP, Ripple. Is that Ripple, right? I'm an absolute crypto noob, to be honest. I'm a full-on crypto noob. But let's see what we have to work with right here. Let's see, what are we doing? We're not creating a fair gap higher. Pretty concerning. That low would then might be the first target. Then let's see what we are doing in a weekly. Ooh, this is a not nice price action in my opinion. Where it's just, the way I call this not nice price action, we have this ST going lower right there. So that is quite nice. The only thing is that it's just very 50-50, as in we have been going higher. We are now trying to go lower, but not really following through off the fair value gaps right there. On the daily time frame, oh, this is the 4 hour. On the daily time frame, right here, the only thing I could see is that we might, that daily fair value gap to deliver into those highs right there. That is quite nice. That is a short-term move. Long-term, I would not be too clear right here on what it wants to do. Do you use time-based PD raise kill zones? So that is a great question as well. And the way I do it, or I use time-based PD raise, as in my PD rates are getting validated by time, as in they have a sting into it at the right time, etc. If you mean, or if you're aiming at PD rates that are created in kill zones, that's not something I use. And if I use it, then it might be without me paying attention to it. When will MMT when will the MMT will open again? Around November, most likely. Essential is always open, so if you mean that MMT, that's open. Lifetime is also open. For the enrollments for the money making team, the masterclass, that is likely in November going to open up. Likely anywhere in November. Could be beginning, could be the end. I'll update you once we get closer as well. Unicorn enjoyers. Love to see that. I think we all love a good unicorn. A little breaker with the fair value gap. Like to see it. Does the Essential have videos like masterclass? Yes, it does. Yes. If you want the full details on that, because I have a video as well going over it, then send me an email. Again, send me an email at info@ario.io and I'll fully go over it for you inside a video, which will fully explain it, etc. What you can expect. How to consider market news in currency pairs trading if US dollar shows red on particular time. Should we consider it as US dollar pairs goes high or low? Please classify, sir. So if I understand correctly, then to answer your question, if we have US dollar red news, then we can just use that US dollar red news for that particular day in our kill zone. So there's London, New York AM, New York PM, to trade higher on what price was already intending to do. But news right there is just a catalyst for the volatility that it will actually do it. We need to have that time and price agreeing right there. Let's see issues here. What am I missing? This one. Question: when the daily fair value gap is not formed, but in 4 hour a fair value gap is formed up, how to work on in this case? That is a great question as well. And in that case, because I think I showed Euro Canadian dollar. Was Euro Canadian dollar? No, Euro Australian dollar. In this case, when we have, no, it's not Euro Australian dollar. Which one was it? I'm not too sure. Anyway, if we have a 4 hour fair value gap higher, but not a daily fair value gap higher, then we need to take into account that we might not be following through on whatever the daily is doing. So the daily not creating a daily fair value gap is of course a worrying thing, because the daily is stronger than the 4 hour. So in that case, it really depends, because let's say, and we have some nice examples which I can find. Not those. I want the right broker. If we have Euro CHF right here, and let's say we did not create a daily vertical lower, but we have taken a daily context low. Premium array right there. Let me mark it. Premium array to discount array. We've taken that. If we did not create a daily vertical lower, that's perfectly fine because on the 4 hour, we can just take that new context lower as well, as long as we're coming off of daily context. But we need to take into account that when we don't create a daily vertical lower, we might just not follow through as well. So in that case, I would also like to wait sometimes, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. Footprint chart. I actually don't use footprint chart. Not too sure what it is, to be honest. It's like, is the bookings? Not too certain. See you later, Brooke. Thank you for coming today. Love to see it. Thank you. See you later, Dennis, as well. Thank you for being here today. See y'all all later. Love to see it. Do you consider wicks as break of structure? Yes, I would. Yes. What is the essential offer? You can reach out to me again through my email, info@ario. It's a little bit easier to explain right there, to show you what the essentially actually covers right there. info@ario.io. Let me see. Did I miss something? Yeah, exactly, Misak. We just wait. That's the best thing to do. Now, again, in between that, we can maybe take a quick scalp, etc. But it's usually not the nice price action that you want to get involved in. Love to see that shoot here. Thought. Do you prefer going on a date with a girl or listening to ICT voice in your ear? Depends on the girl, but yeah, it depends. Really depends. Depends on the episode as well for ICT. Really depends on the episode or what he's talking about. Oh, that's a great question. Thank you, Victor. Thank you. You too. Likewise, my brother. Likewise. AGFX watermark. That is the one, Bertino. Thank you. Yes, that is the one. Going to use it in the future as well. Yeah, Jess. In that case, I would expect ES to follow Nasdaq lower as well, if that makes sense. HSI. All right, that is the last one I'm likely going to go over right there. HSI. I've never gone over this pair before. Let me know. Ooh, let me know if I'm picking the right one. The gap scared me. The gaps kind of scared me. The monthly just likely heading lower towards that low. That is a year ago. Nice. Then the weekly right here, we could continue lower. I'm seeing these legs. This is creating a new leg right there. Then I'm seeing that low right there. And I'm seeing that low as the next target. Then is this the right one? Is the right one, right? I hope so. All right, right here, we are creating daily VWAP gaps lower. That daily VWAP gap right there is something I would like to trade off of to continue lower. With this being the target, that being the target, after that, I would say that is the target right there. That's looking quite nice for, if you can call it nice, with all the gaps, etc. Ooh. I've not heard about that before. I know them. Don, Ragnar, I know them, but I've not heard about how they actually trade. Level to level trading. Interesting. The crypto guys are always, they're doing pretty good from what I'm seeing. I mean, if it's real, of course, but from what I'm seeing, they're always doing pretty good, crypto guys. Yeah, for sure, DJ Khaled. Give me a few, you mean in the videos itself? Yeah, for sure. I try to always switch it up. Switch it up in that sense, but I try my best. But the concepts I talk about are, of course, they work on both, but I'll try my best. Crude oil, SMT. Oof. I don't believe so. Maybe the bonds itself. But you would have to look at. I don't believe so. Not too certain, to be honest. Not too certain. If a setup But by the way, Adele, you don't really need SMC as well, just to quickly touch on that as well. Let me see. Hyro, I use Delirium. That is my trading plan. That is my favorite strategy. It's what I go over quite a lot in the HZ guide, actually. Instead of forums before red folder tradable news, do you open a trade before unemployment news? Yeah, 100% Millennium. 100%, 100%. 100%. For sure. For sure. That is what pushes the price further. So it won't take you out. It won't slip you like crazy, like a CPI, NFP, or anything. Do you prefer fair value gap or market structure? 100% fair value gap. 100%. I love fair value gaps. They just... Fair value gaps without market structure, without... How do I say that correctly? Without fair value gaps, market structure is irrelevant. Without market structure, fair value gaps are still telling you a story. So it's like market structure is less relevant than the fair value gaps itself. It's just a tool. A very basic tool to tell you what price might want to do. GJ, let's see what we're doing right here. Yeah, here, I would still like to trade towards that month fair value gap, but currently it's just consolidating. So I would wait for a daily fair value gap either higher or lower. How much RR do you make a month, bro? If you don't mind. I don't mind it at all. I have the stats on it, actually. The only thing is, I'm not too certain. What was it? It was around 7%. So that might be more RR or might be less RR based on the fact of how much I'm risking. Love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see that. Love to see it. All right, currently I have to wrap it up. I have to go right now. But if you have any questions, please, if you have any questions, just reach out to me to this email. Don't spam it, please. But you can reach out to me for a question and I'll go over it as well. So currently I have to go. So Delirium. Yes, it's called Delirium. Shoot here. Oh, that's crazy. Dolby as well. If you want psychology tips, just send me an email as well and I'll go over that. And then I'll see everyone on Tuesday live stream. So be there Tuesday live stream. In the meantime, of course, remember what we talked about. Be careful with everything. And yeah, I'll see you on Tuesday. All right. And if you have a question, send it to me to my email because I do have to go right now. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Love y'all and see you at the next one. Have a great Sunday. Thank you.